What's up, guys? So I mentioned in my video about the meet how I kind of mistimed the water cut, and I wasn't feeling 100%. I feel like extra doo doo now. This is Wednesday after the meet. Yesterday I felt really awful on Tuesday. It's typical to feel pretty bad after a meet. Not only you're overreaching and stuff with your training, trying to get to that place. Compound that with I did do a little bit of a water cut. Um, and then I ate like an asshole for the whole weekend. And I will be posting my weights, like my weigh-ins on screen, so you can get a visual of the debauchery that was happening with my eating. I did miss one day of weigh-ins. I went the day of the meet after I was done competing. I went to stay the night with my girlfriends, and my scale isn't at her house, so I didn't weigh myself that morning. But you could see the following Monday, like holy shit. So I weighed in officially at 98.5 kilograms on the scale for weigh-ins, which is like 216.7 or 8, just a hair under 217. And I was like 217.2 or something the day up on my scale. And as you can see, Monday morning, I was 238. That's a lot of sodium and liquid retention, of course, but I did go kind of ham. Um, Even on the day of weigh-ins, I front load my eating on weigh-in day when I do this. It's just because I'm really hungry, and I try to get in as many calories as possible early on. And I'm going to drink and graze through the rest of the day with more of a focus on the liquids than the foods. But I like to have that in there. So what all went down, I was a day early on my water cut. The day before weigh-ins, I was 219.2. That would have been ideal. So that day, I am playing games with my scale and grabbing a thing of rice cakes and standing on the scale and seeing where it puts me at, grabbing a bag of potato chips, standing on the scale, see where it puts me at, eating some, taking a small sip of water at a time, because that'll really put the weight back on you, and just playing those games all throughout the day, which, like I said, ideally I would have just weighed in at 219.2 on Friday morning without having to play those games or anything, and I probably would have been much better off. So I was a day early on my water cut. So I ended up, being that I was a day early, I tried to focus on carbs and sodium. Maybe I could have done a little better with getting some more liquids in on that day. But it's one of those things where you're kind of towing that fine line, and better to be safe than sorry as far as weigh-ins go. So, but I did load up on carbs and sodium, with in theory that they would be in my system. So after I got weighed in, when I started drinking again, they would absorb all that liquid and stuff. And I did a pretty good job putting the weight back on and rehydrating. I definitely wasn't dehydrated on meet day. Like, I was peeing a lot. I was peeing clear. Um, the first thing I do after weigh-ins, this is gonna be scatterbrained. Y'all know me. Uh, I have a concoction that I make. It's 2 parts Pedialyte, 2 parts water, 1 part cranberry juice. I put a liquid IV in there, and then some honey, and it almost fills up this gallon jug. And that's kind of my main priority, is getting that, sipping on that on my way to McDonald's, where I got 2 bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles, 6 hash browns, 2 pumpkin cream pies, and a pumpkin spice latte. Pumpkin spice latte, probably not the best thing to have after weigh-ins, to be honest, but when in Rome. Anyway, I killed the hash browns and the pumpkin pies on my way home, and it's like a 7-minute trip from McDonald's to my house, from the McDonald's I stopped at. Then I had the McGriddles. Then I had 4 pieces of buttered toast, and then I had a whole box of cereal with milk. It was around like 5,000, a little over 5,000 calories in that one meal. And then again, like, I focused on drinking fluids throughout the day, and then grazing a little bit. And as the day kind of went on, the foods were more like fruits and whole foods and things like that, with more emphasis on liquid, but then carbs. And I had plenty of sodium and stuff in me from the liquid concoction in the McDonald's. Um, Going into meet day itself, I woke up that morning. If I recall, I think it was 232 on my scale. So, I did well. I was expecting to be between 225 and 230. Maybe I overdid it, and my body wasn't super happy with it. That's certainly a possibility, of course, because I did go pretty ham. I had, like, within 7 hours of weigh-ins, I was showing 238 pounds on my scale that day. And then, of course, you're going to drop some, overnight when you sleep it off. But I probably went a little hard. And again, when you're throwing things at your body that it's not accustomed to, it doesn't always work out for the best, even though, weight moves weight. And I did want a nice bloat going into bench only, of course. It might have been a little too much. Like I said, between being a day early and then going really hard on the refeed and rehydration, I didn't feel my best on the day of the meet. I didn't feel like shit, but I didn't feel like great either. And we're talking about the difference of 10 to 20 pounds in ability that I would have had that day. So what I did smart was I played it safe. I was talking to Sam Sheether the day before about attempts and telling him about how, because I initially I wanted to go 195, 202.5, 211, and if the 211 moved well, I would have went to 215 for a fourth attempt. But I was going to base it on my second, and if my second, the 202.5, didn't feel so hot, I would just go 207.5, which is a 2.5 kilo PR, and just try to take that smart PR, and then go to a fourth attempt and go to 211, and that's what I ended up doing, and it paid off. I knew it's funny too. So I was the last person in my flight. So after my second, really after my opener, I knew that I probably wasn't going to go 211 on my third. But after my second, I went to the scoring table and I said, hey, put in 207.5 for my third. And I told them, I said, if I hit this, I'm going to do a fourth attempt. Because I just wanted to make them aware so they didn't roll into the next flight or anything and me get fucked out of a fourth attempt if I wanted it. Kind of wish I didn't say that because, after I hit that 207.5 on my third, like I had to get really, really up for it because I wasn't feeling the greatest on the day. So I kind of went there, and after doing it, like that's all I had in me. I didn't have any more. I knew I didn't have any more, but I already told them the fourth attempt, and they already put in. I went over there and they asked, what's your fourth attempt, and they were announcing, oh, he's going to be going for a fourth attempt, and put 5 minutes on the clock, and I told him 211, and so I was internally arguing with myself, like, do I just try to stay in this elevated state, or do I try to calm down, bring it down, and get back up? And I did. I tried to calm down, bring it down, and get back up. It didn't work, and I was going to try to jump the press command. I got a pretty favorable press command, to be honest. I was going to try to heave it. I didn't really do a good job of heaving, just because I don't train with a heave. And that's something like heaves, like if you practice heaving, even though you shouldn't be, but like if you want to lift for the gram or something and you practice heaving, even with keeping your butt in contact with the bench and stuff, if you do a good heave on your bench press, you can get 10 to 30 pounds depending upon who you are. The bigger you are, the more you can get out of it. But I was going to try to heave it, but just my natural instincts just took over and I couldn't heave it. And I tried. I gave it what I had, but I didn't have it in me, and I kind of knew it was already coming. But I want to talk a little bit about the weights, more so about the weight cut, the water cut, the refeed, the reload, and just the the sheer differences in numbers. Which this morning I was already back down to 225. So my body's leveling out. I feel a little better this afternoon than I did yesterday afternoon. So hopefully I'll be back at 100% by this weekend. I'm not training at all this week. I intend on getting back in the gym Saturday morning. And I guess I will be having an update video on what I will be training for next. But that's it, y'all. Peace!